Down with speech off.
Hello, my name is Sienna Price. I have septo-optic dysplasia, which caused me to be born completely blind, and it also caused me to be on the autism spectrum. And I also have complex post-traumatic stress disorder. In this video, I'm going to discuss, I guess, my view of autism and game shows. Really just neurodivergence in game shows. But yes, definitely autism and game shows. There's not a lot of research done on this, so I'm just gonna go off of what I feel as far as my observations. Now, first off, I just want to say I am 100% positive there are also neurotypical people who love game shows. It's not just neurodivergent people. However, there is a lot of people who are neurodivergent that love game shows. I don't know if it's the entertainment, probably. That's probably the hugest reason why. The entertainment. Trust me, entertainment's fun. Maybe it's the way the game is played. Maybe they have a high level of trivia. I mean, there are so many reasons why a lot of autistic people and even neurodivergent people, like people with ADHD, people with other conditions, what I like to call unique abilities. I don't really like to look at them as disabilities all the time. But there's a lot of people in that crowd who just have this huge special interest for game shows. And I think it's absolutely awesome. I think it's fascinating. And game shows are fun. Game shows, maybe that's another huge reason why we love game shows so much, is because they're fun. They're entertaining. Now, for me, I have always kind of been a Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy type of girl. I never really watched The Price is Right. My husband has watched The Price is Right. He's also completely blind and autistic, and he loves game shows. He's more into like The Price is Right. He likes Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy as well, but he's more of like The Price is Right type of guy. And I've watched little snippets of The Price is Right when I was like 2 or 3. I think my grandma probably watched them, but I mean, I didn't know who the heck Bob Barker even was. All I really paid attention to back then was probably the sound effects, like the bell and the buzzer and the spinning wheel and stuff like that. I probably paid more attention to that than the host and the announcer. But I've always been a Wheel of Fortune and a Jeopardy type of person. And then I started watching Rock and Roll Jeopardy, mainly just because of the music. That was my thing. I remember when I would watch those game shows, and sometimes I would get excited about the things that were about to happen. And like, especially with the think music with Rock and Roll Jeopardy, I would always excite myself. So when I knew that music was about to come on, when I knew that music was about, excuse me, when I knew that music was about to come on, I would just jump up and down and hand flap and quote the commercials that were on the TV, just like stimming to kind of psych myself up for that excitement of the think music playing on Rock and Roll Jeopardy. And with Wheel of Fortune, I was always excited to watch it. I have even some stories of what I would do while watching Wheel of Fortune. Sometimes I'd sit on the couch and just stim and rock back and forth, or sometimes I would be playing with things, especially when I was watching Game Show Network. I watched Game Show Network later on in life. When I was like, I want to say when I was like 6. Yeah, 6 or 7. And I would watch Game Show Network. I mean, I knew about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and I knew about Press Your Luck and some of that stuff. Now Josh and I love Press Your Luck. Josh is my husband, by the way. Josh and I love Press Your Luck. We even love Whammy, the all-new Press Your Luck. And we like to use Whammy and Double Whammy as a way of stimming, because there's these things on Press Your Luck, and there's a thing on Whammy, the all-new Press Your Luck. They're called whammies, and they're called double whammies. And they pretty much, if you land on them, they take your money and your prizes. So I would say the thing with game shows that I think a lot of us like is probably the fun, the entertainment, the excitement, sometimes the humor from the hosts and the contestants, because that whole stereotypical thing of we don't do humor, oh my gosh, you better think again. It's true. We do a lot of humor. We all in this house, my mom, me, and my husband, all love game shows. But I would say my mom and I are probably more of the Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy watchers. I'm sometimes a Press Your Luck watcher. I actually like Press Your Luck even more. But back then, when I was a kid, my main game show focuses were Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. Sometimes I would be watching Game Show Network, but while I was watching Game Show Network, I probably would have been like playing in my room or like playing on the floor in the living room with Legos or something. Not always focusing on every single game unless it was a game show that I guess you could say I'm picky. A game show that I was really interested in. Nowadays, I'm more interested in a lot of other game shows than just Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. Like I said, I love Press Your Luck. I actually like The Price is Right. I've watched enough of it with Josh, because we have fun watching old episodes of game shows. And Josh and I have watched The Price is Right together. Josh and Sienna Price is Right. Had to throw that one in there. But we've watched The Price is Right, and I have to say, it's not a bad game show. I can see why a lot of people loved it. But yeah, that's my take on autism and the love for game shows and just the huge special interest we have in it. And like I said, I know that neurotypical people love game shows too, but it just so happens that in the autism community and in the neurodivergent community, we have this huge love for game shows, and I absolutely love it. All right, I'm done talking now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.